You know how sports pundits always sound so sure of themselves, like they've got it all figured out? Well, today, we're not here to make bets. We're here to crack the code. We're going to go inside the punter's playbook and see exactly how it's built, piece by piece.
So, check this out. That's the exact opening line from our source material. It's from a script for a football prediction show. Right away, it just drops you into this very specific world, right? It's got its own language, its own audience, and that one phrase really sets the stage for everything we're about to break down.
Okay, so let me be super clear about what we're doing here. We are not giving out betting tips. Nope. This is all about deconstruction. We're going to tear apart the structure of these predictions. How are they actually built? What's the logic behind them? And maybe, what can this formula teach us about the art of persuasion itself?
All right, here's our game plan. First up, we'll look at a punter's daily playbook. Then, we'll dive into the anatomy of a prediction. After that, we'll apply what we learned to the World Cup qualifiers and a math we're calling the Brazilian standout. And we'll wrap it all up by reading between the lines. Let's jump in. So, where are we getting all this from? Well, our entire analysis is based on just one script. It's for a show on Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. And on the menu that day, 6 World Cup qualifier matches and 1 game from Brazil's top league, Serie. It's kind of perfect, right? A nice self-contained sample for us to really dig into.
Okay, so let's get to the good stuff. How is one of these predictions actually put together? What's the secret sauce? Well, by looking really closely at the very first game in our script, we can basically reverse engineer the whole formula. This is the core blueprint we've been talking about.
And our test case, our guinea pig, is the match between Costa Rica and Honduras. Trust me, every single key component of the playbook is right here in this one example. It's the perfect model for us to build from.
And you know what? It all boils down to this 4-step blueprint. And it's surprisingly simple, but also incredibly consistent. I mean, every single prediction follows these exact 4 steps. You've got the matchup, the score prediction, the actionable pick, and then the rationale that just ties it all together. All right, the first 2 elements are pretty straightforward. They just set the scene. Who's playing? Costa Rica versus Honduras. When are they playing? Midnight Nigerian time. And what's the predicted score? A very specific 2-1 result. This is what anchors the whole rest of the prediction.
Now, this next part is super important. There's a big difference between the score prediction and the actionable pick. The score prediction was 2-1, right? But the pick, that's the actual advice. And look, there are 2 options here. You have the main one, Costa Rica to win. But then there's this alternative, kind of safer option, over 1.5 goals. All that means is that 2 or more goals will be scored in the whole game. Doesn't matter who wins.
Okay, before we get to the last piece of the puzzle, let's just define what it is. The rationale. This is the why. It's that one key sentence that's designed to make you feel confident, to give the whole thing an air of authority. So, what was the big reason for this match?
And there it is. Costa Rica's home strength gives them the edge. Simple, direct, powerful. It all comes down to home field advantage. And that's it. That's the final piece. We now have the complete 4-part blueprint for pretty much any prediction in this playbook.
All right, so we've got the formula, right? Now let's put it to the test. We can start moving way faster through the rest of the World Cup qualifier matches from the script, and you're going to see these same patterns pop up again and again and again.
I mean, look at this. When you lay it all out like this, the pattern is just undeniable. That 4-part structure, it's there for every single game. But check out the rationales. You see things like typically tight, low scoring, controlled, low scoring, rarely concedes at home. A really clear theme is starting to emerge here, right? It's all about defensive strength. It's like the other side of the coin from that home field advantage idea we saw before.
And this is where you start to see the 2 core strategies of the playbook. On one side, you've got your to-win picks, right? Like Jamaica to win. That's all about believing one team is just better. But on the other side, you have these goals picks, like Guatemala under 3.5. This isn't about who wins at all. It's a prediction about the tempo of the game itself, that it's going to be a cautious, defensive match with 3 or fewer goals scored in total.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. We're moving to the final game mentioned in the script. This one's from a whole different continent, a different competition, and you can really feel the confidence in how this one is presented.
So we've got Palmeiras versus Vitoria in Brazil, and you can see the blueprint is still there, but the rationale is a bit different. It combines 2 really powerful ideas. It's not just home advantage this time, it's also a big gulf in quality. That combo is what makes this, in the source's own words, a strong choice. It's kind of like the playbook's grand finale.
Okay, so we've been deep in the weeds, dissecting all the individual predictions. Now it's time to zoom out. Let's put all the pieces together and look at the big picture. What's the grand strategy here? What does this playbook look like from, a bird's eye view?
What we're working with here is a data set of 7. Just 7 predictions. But they were all delivered on the same day, and they all follow that same formula we uncovered. So this is our sample size. This is what we're going to use to find the core strategy. And here it is. This is the big reveal. When you actually categorize the core logic for all 7 of those picks, the results are kind of wild. A massive 86% of all the reasoning boils down to just 2 simple ideas, either home turf strength or the game being low scoring. That's it. The entire strategy is built on this really, really focused foundation.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that the expert field doesn't come from some crazy, complicated algorithm. It's not magic. It comes from the confident and consistent use of a really simple, repeatable framework, one that's built on just a couple of core pillars. It's all about pattern recognition and just disciplined repetition.
And this is how our source material signs off. It's a call to action that really sums up the whole philosophy. Bet responsibly, trust the numbers, and may the odds swing in your favor. It's like, be smart, trust the data-driven approach we just talked about, and then, hope for a little bit of luck.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? We've taken apart the numbers, we've deconstructed the logic. But in a game that's driven by so much passion and so much pure chance, that little phrase, bet responsibly, that might just be the most complex part of this whole thing. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this one.